Welcome to the Dawg and Gus Show, now on Feel It Radio.
Hey, what's up, dog?
Not much, Gus. You?
Oh, just a lovely day here. It was nice to see that the sun was still out when we started this, which is fantastic.
Yeah, because we've been coming here in the dark
Yeah, it's true.
for the last few podcasts here at the studio.
Who do we have today?
We have Gareth, a.k.a. Jack Pine, a.k.a. LALA Studios.
Nice. What's up, Gareth?
Not much. How's it going, guys?
Good to have you, man. Thanks for coming to our little show. So nice to have you. I guess we could ask you a couple questions. Like, tell us about LALA Studio.
Sure. Yeah. LALA Studio. It's my new project, my new business up in Gatineau, where I live. And built it in my basement. It's a pretty it's the full basement. It's a decent space, and it's good for full bands and everything like that. And built it myself this year. And we've been working on an album since about September. It's done now, basically.
Nice.
Cool.
But, yeah.
When do you suspect that's
how it
coming
starts,
out?
at least.
Yeah. Fair enough. When do you think you'll have that released?
Well, it's not my album, so it's not really for me. I think they're hoping for spring. This is Johnny Eaton is the artist.
Cool.
And, he's hoping for spring.
Okay, cool.
Very cool. So it's all
Nice.
done and just ready for them to...
Yeah, well, it's getting mastered
Okay.
in the next few weeks.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How close are your nearest neighbors if you got a studio in your basement?
Well, not so close that it's an issue. Yeah,
Nice.
We're actually pretty perfectly located. We've got quite a decent yard and land and everything like that. But we're also right next to Maloney, which is one of the major streets.
Yeah.
In Gatineau. So we don't have any direct neighbors. We do have neighbors, but
Yeah.
they're all pretty far away.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
And
when you were...
there's a big church across the street. And
Nice. Got to be careful when when they
care.
ring their
It's
bells
not a
there.
real church even.
There's a church, but it's not a real church.
Well, it used to
not
be a
in
church,
function.
and now it's an old folks community center or something. Or
okay.
it's a
Very nice.
Community center of some sort. Anyways.
Do you have to ever go over there and tell them to calm down? I'm trying to record an album here. Be quiet. you
Yeah,
bunch
the
of
seniors yoga
geriatrics.
gets out of hand sometimes.
They could.
No, and they haven't done that to me either yet.
No?
No.
Fair enough. Well, I'm sure you're waiting for the right band to do that with, I guess.
Oh yeah, eventually we'll get real loud down there. But
Nice.
otherwise, I tend to focus primarily on acoustic and a little bit of folky music and I love world music and
Nice.
all kinds of weird stuff. But I listen to everything, so it's not that specifically. That's what I sort of advertise myself as doing. But I'd love to work with indie bands and whatever. As time goes on, it'll be whatever, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that you don't want to pigeonhole yourself either, right? You kind of want to
No.
you want to be open-minded to whatever comes, right?
Yeah, I've been counseled to have a niche when it comes to business and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, I just love music.
Yeah.
And I want to make music, and I want to help
People make
artists make the music that they want to make when it comes down to it. Yeah.
So cool. Yeah.
So there's your niche. You like music.
Yeah.
Is that our niche? Too?
Unlike all those
I think
other
that's our
studio
niche as
guys.
well, but we're not going to help anybody. We're not going to help anybody record an album.
Do you? So are you do you personally are you still recording music at all, or are you kind of out playing at all, or what's going on with your music career?
Yeah, Jack Pine is still going. I'm still playing shows. I've been a little less active recently because I'm trying to build this business. I committed myself to taking a year to focusing really on building the studio as a sustainable income earner and business. Because I've been doing recording for at least as long as Jack Pine, and I started out my first Jack Pine album, Jack Pine and the Fire, was to showcase my production skills. And then it was actually a pretty good album, and people liked it, and it sucked me into being an artist. And then suddenly I was an artist doing all the artist things, which left zero time. It's a takes a lot of time to be an artist, not necessarily making music all the time. So zero time left to do the studio stuff. So anyways, yeah, to answer your question, I'm still playing music. I've got a couple gigs coming up now. Trying to spend less time booking and stuff like that. I'm not planning to book any tours or anything. Or at least I haven't planned to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I question myself, and I was like, maybe I should just do a little tour, just go out and have some fun. But
Yeah, a little cash too never hurts, right? Like to help float the business for whatever. I'm sure it's doing well. But that album is very good. I did listen to it actually on the way here, and I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
Me too.
Yeah.
nice.
You're going to slow down your bookings to get more bookings for your recording studio, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is the other way around, that I want the recording business to be sustainable enough that I don't have to take all these other side gigs that I was doing in order to be an artist
For
still,
sure.
and that the two can sort of cohabitate a little better than I'm an artist who also does live sound and works at a church and takes random AV gigs that I hate and, you know, says yes to anything that pays a half a day or something.
No,
Hey.
I think that like it's a good goal. Like I was going to ask you, what's your 5-year goal? And I would suspect that you want to just full time LALA Studio and then have that option of going out and doing a couple gigs here and there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've had like an album's worth of songs written like during the pandemic even that I could have been recording the whole time, but sort of lost the inspiration during the pandemic, that's for sure, to be releasing music and doing the whole business side of music. And that's part of what led me to want to start the studio. It's like, if I'm going to put like that much energy into building a business, like I want it to be a musician, not necessarily be a business person. And if I need to put in that much time into business, then it might as well be a simpler business, like a recording studio, which is, you know, many fewer possible income streams. You know, like as a musician, you have to be doing this and that and that and that and that. And all of those, if you're doing it right, might make it up to an income, like a livable income. And meanwhile, also be a really creative person.
Yeah.
So the studio thing, the business side is simpler. It's like generally, you know, less multifaceted as far as income streams. And you get to focus on the creative much more often and flex some technical skills as well, which I have a couple.
Yeah, apparently. I would suspect so with what you're doing. But what part of it do you find to be the most interesting to you?
Recording?
Yeah.
Well, I've been saying that it's what I'm focusing on more than like folk and acoustic music and stuff like that, because I say that mostly because that's the network that I have through playing Jack Pine and with the band. But it's, exploring songs, and with this Johnny Eaton guy, this first album, it's a really eclectic album, and he's a kind of eclectic guy too.
Is he? Yeah.
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 So in producing that album, we went real deep into every song that he had and tried to pick out every little bit that we could and think about how can we make this into a sound for you. He was just a guy playing acoustic guitar on live streams. That's basically his performance experience recently, at least. He's done some touring back in the day, but in the last few years he's just been doing live streamings in his living room kind of thing.
Hilarious. Playing
acoustic guitar and singing his very many songs. He's a great songwriter and really prolific songwriter. We just went real deep into each song, and I made sure I understood exactly what they're all supposed to mean and what the inspiration is and what the emotion is in it, because I love to try and create that emotion in the listener as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's a high energy thing and you want them to be hyped at the end of it, or there's a couple songs on the album when I'm like, my goal is that Johnny calls me and says that he's crying because he listened to the mix.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you want the emotion.
I did succeed in that.
You want the emotion to come out, basically, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of what music is.
Oh,
It's like,
100%. Yeah, that's Dawg and I talk about it all the time. It's so important that it has, like, I find any song that I put on or comes on, and it does something to me emotionally, and then also can put me in a better mood, or it can bring me back to a memory or whatever, right? It's such a great, I love music. It's just the way it is. Like,
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
is Johnny? Is he a local guy or is he?
Yeah.
He's from local. Okay.
yeah, he's from Ottawa.
Cool.
And he's been doing live stream things, I think, every week for a couple years now. So
Okay.
he's coming up on a couple hundred live stream, or at least 100. That math doesn't make sense. But
So about 100 live
yeah,
streams.
he's done more than one weekly at some points, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah.
So when you're going to be doing your producing and stuff, so are you going to, like, say an artist comes in, do you sit down with that person, get to know them a little bit before you jump into the music, just so you can get a vibe from that person before you even talk about what they're writing or what they're playing?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of the process. And with Johnny, like, I didn't know him before. Like, we had a meeting at some point, and someone had recommended me to them, who I hadn't even worked with that person either, the person that recommended me, besides doing sound for them for a show or something like that, or playing a gig with them or something. Or I don't remember what it was, but
You met them.
so yeah, we didn't really know each other at all. And he took a chance on me in the end, and vice versa. In the end, he turned out to be like the perfect first client for the studio.
Nice.
Because, patient with some things that I'm still working out in the new
Yeah.
space and everything. And also, like I said, super eclectic. So every song is like really different and a real challenge to mix them all together. And I get to flex a little bit in terms of production chops and the technical stuff as well. And yeah.
I feel as an art, because you're an artist as well, right, as well as doing the recording and stuff. So I feel that'd be fun for you. It's like, okay, it's not the same. Okay, well, we're going to do another song that sounds exactly the same as the last song. That's awesome. It's like, so
Yeah.
if they, well, that song was, where did it go? Where did that come from? You kind of like, oh, I'm very surprised by what he's put into this song or what you've added to that song. It kind of makes it a lot more fun to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, in terms of the flow of a project, it's great when every song has a similar sound. It definitely makes my job a lot easier. Like, I spent probably about a month getting the mix for Johnny worked out. Whereas today I did about half of a full jazz mix of like 8 songs, that'll be done by the end of tomorrow. So completely different approach. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, it's great. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I like to say that I make productions that serve the song first. Like, yeah, sure, the identity of the artist as well, but the song as well, it has its own identity, and it's all about kind of figuring what that is first, and then bringing that out of it.
yeah, that's really cool. I would imagine that would be fulfilling, like figuring out what that is, and then when it hits, it's like just such a really great feeling, right?
Yeah.
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 There's no real question there. That was more of a statement. But so, like, if there's one thing in your business venture that you didn't expect, what would it be?
That I didn't expect. Well, I mean, I guess I sort of expected it, but it was definitely a lot of work just building the space, and there's still work being done on it. And, realistically, there probably will be, like, for years to come. It's not like the kind of thing. Well, I didn't really want it to be the kind of thing where, like, it was perfect from the get-go. Like, I set a deadline for Johnny to start recording, and I was like, the studio's open as of that day, no matter what. And it was ready. It was ready for clients to come in. I wasn't quite ready because I was literally building the thing, 48 hours before. But, yeah, that's one thing. that like realizing that it'll be an evolution over time.
For sure.
Not necessarily like the business for sure. The way I treat a client and production and stuff like that. Like I've been doing it for a long time, but I hope that I'll continue learning as time goes on.
For sure.
And as will my clients. If they keep coming back, they'll be better and better and more experienced and have different expectations every time too.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think also putting like the timeline on it, like making sure that it's putting pressure on yourself to ensure that you finish, probably helped you, right? To get it, like it's like almost you put that timeline in place, and then you had to be ready. So
Yeah.
it does help. I think personally, I work really great under pressure. I think we've talked to a couple artists where they're like. It's amazing to work under pressure because that's when all the best stuff comes. You don't overthink it. You just get it done.
Yeah. Actually, there's one song on Johnny's album that I'm still just trying to get over it. It's like I worked on the mix and I sent him the first mix, and like all the mixes I sent him, like he kept saying they're great and everything, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna tweak them still because they're not quite there yet. Like, I'm glad you like it. That's amazing. But I'm still going to, even though you say it's perfect, like, it's not done, just so you know. But there was this one that he said, oh, it's great, man. It's just maybe just like a touch more organ. And so I went back into it. And, yeah, it had a touch more organ. But I changed, like, a lot of things. And, like, I sent it to him. And he's like, yeah, okay. I think I like the first one better. And it's like, oh, okay. But I can make this other one sound like the first one. And I tweaked it and sent it back. It's like, yeah, I still like the first one. And I tweaked it and sent it back. Oh, I still like the first one. And in the end, it's going to be the first mix that we go with. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah,
it just had that vibe that worked. And I can't even argue with it either. Like, in the end, the other mix, I think, is just as good. But the artist is right, first of all. And if nothing else, it was my ego that was... I told myself early on, I can make that mix better. And I tried. And in the end, I just had it right the first time.
There you go.
And I should have just celebrated that as an early win instead of kicking myself and beating my head against the wall.
Well, there's your learning curve too, right? Like
yeah.
You learn in that respect as well, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
let
thinking
my ego go.
Yeah, exactly.
And just let the song be great if it's already there.
Yeah, especially if your artist loves it,
Yeah.
But also, I feel that with you getting to know the artist before you start the process, you can tell if they say, yeah, it's great. And no, it's you want to tell me something, tell me.
Yeah.
Be honest with me. Don't say, yeah, it's great, and then hate it. So it's good that he said, yeah, I kind of like the one with the organ doing this instead of, you know what I mean? Instead of just going, yeah, you know what, Gareth, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're going, I don't know if I believe you very much. So it's good to have that personal rapport with the person as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get the best out of both of you.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, this isn't the first album I've recorded for other artists, and I find that just about every artist I've worked with is very much considered a friend at this point.
Yeah.
And that's been the case again with this one. So, yeah.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Hey, Dawg, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart. It's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes that personal relationship to make it work.
I honestly think if you're going to produce somebody's music, they're coming at you with, like, I spent hours and hours slaving over these songs that are personal to me, and if you don't take it personally, then why are we working together?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it has to be. If I were a producer, I'd be like, I'd have to be engaged with every song that they're doing. Like, it would just have to be that way.
Yeah.
Just to make it the best that it can be, right?
Yeah. Johnny's been, continuously showering me with praise since.
That's good.
So we're back to that ego again.
Yeah.
That came right back around.
But what
No, that's
I
proud.
said-
It's being proud. It's
I'm
being
teasing
proud of his
Yeah,
work. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
no, it feels great.
Yeah.
But I said to him recently, like, hey, I mean, it's your baby. Like, I'm just raising it.
Yeah. I'm just teaching it the way.
That's a good way to put it, actually. Is it like, what's the most important personality trait that someone would need to work in your industry, would you say? And maybe personally.
Well, speaking of ego, being humble is always important. And honest, like it's particularly at the point of producing, like you got to kind of, I don't know, you're working with people's personalities. You're working again with their baby, and you want them to, well, they want to have a great result, but their egos are in play as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know if humble and honest quite covers it, maybe not, but they say, like, as a producer, part of you is a psychologist as well.
Makes sense, because you
Well-
got to keep kind of everything in check.
Well, that's
too.
right. You got to be careful
Yeah.
not to bruise the ego too much, but to get your point across and have them understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then you have to understand what they're trying to do. And
Yeah.
then kind of find that middle ground, right?
Yeah, and meanwhile, like, you can like, even if you are doing everything right, if there's someone that's likely to get self-conscious, then they're going to get self-conscious anyways. So it's like, then you got to, like, talk them out of that too. Like, again, with Johnny, I had to talk him off the edge of potentially postponing the whole album in August. And, what I didn't tell him is that, like, man, I'm like, that's a big problem for me if you cancel right now. Like, I'm all in right now. Like, if I lose that client, like, I don't know what I'm going to do in September.
Yeah.
But also, like, I knew that he really did want to make an album, and he really did feel ready, and he told me that it was his goal to do it. So I just spat it all back at him, and I was like, you told me this was your goal. Like if you're telling, I've seen artists say, like, oh, in a year I'm going to do it, and in a year I'm going to do it. And they were 40 at the time, and they were saying they're going to do it because they turned 40, and, like, I got to, I got to get it in the can. And then they're 50 and they still haven't made their first album. Like, you're going to do it, man.
Time
We're
waits
going to
for
make
no
this
one.
album,
Yeah,
and we're going to make
exactly.
it a great album. So
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Good for you, yeah.
And-
And you
and it
weren't.
worked.
It
It
wasn't
was a
just-
very long email.
Well, I'm sure, but it wasn't just like you were dependent on it a bit. But I think in the end, your intentions were like, you need to put this album out because you're so talented and you got to do it. Like, it has to be done, even though you may have had the background stuff, but even then, I think you wouldn't have cared. It was more get that album out, right?
Yeah. And, like, I did feel that my role, like, as a producer was to help him make the album. And that
And
was
you
what
did.
he needed at that point, was a little kick in the butt and some real talk saying, like, let's do this. Like, you told me you wanted to do this, so I'm here to help. I'm here to do everything required to get you to have a great album when we're done.
That's right.
And part of it, I think I actually wrote in the email, part of it is writing this email right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hence the email.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it a little bit away from your producing. When was the last concert you went to?
Last concert I went to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I go to Irene's. I do
Cool.
sound at Irene's.
Okay.
still.
So, all right. What was the last one you did there?
That was John Allaire.
Nice.
Yeah. And the Campistas? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I
John
think
Allaire
it's
and his
the
band.
Capistas, right?
Campistas? Yeah.
Because
think
John
that's
also
right.
plays Quinn's, right? He also plays at Quinn's a bunch.
Yeah. And I played that one as well.
Yeah, you've done Quinn's before.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the circuit is like certain people play certain places. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I still do live sound at Irene's, I told myself that I would only take live sound. I would not prioritize the best paying unless it's really good paying. But, gigs where I might be interacting with a music scene I want to stay a part of. Because I don't tend to go out to club shows all that much these days. I used to a lot. And Irene's was my favorite place to be. I'd go to Sunday night bluegrass every Sunday, just about. And I worked at the Folklore Center down the road, so we'd go there for beers, and there was always music.
Yeah.
And it's been a very formational part of Jack Pine and the Fire. We played our very first show there, which was sold out, and we did a run of 4 months of our own Sundays after the bluegrass ended. We took that over. We at Irene's, I still do sound, and that's because I might meet potential clients there, and just to be a part of the music scene there. And it's the same. I do sound at a couple places in Gatineau, and that's because I don't know the Gatineau scene at all. I've lived there for almost 10 years now, and I lived in Hull for a period before that. But I always said I live in Gatineau, but my life is in Ottawa, kind of thing. So to learn what's happening in Gatineau and understand the scene there, I've always wanted the studio to be like have community focus, and be part of communities I want to be a part of. Like,
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we know, we're speaking to a bunch of different artists and groups that we've had on here, like that. The Ottawa music scene is amazing. Like this person, this person. Oh, I've done sound for this person. This guy's awesome. So your networking is already, you already have a base for it, right? So if you're at Irene's one night and somebody says, "Hey, you did so and so's album, right?" Yeah, I did. And all of a sudden, boom, there you go, another connection.
Yeah.
So.
And it's funny, like I was looking forward this month at Irene's and checking out the schedule and seeing which gigs I wanted to do. I think I just took them all this time. I'm doing a lot in March. It's funny to realize, like, basically all of these people are pretty much my friends at this point. Mm-hmm. Like, just about anyone, I'm going to be happy to see them when I get there. And also hopefully give them some pretty good sound. But
yeah. Well, that kind of translates, right? You do a good show at Irene's. Oh, the sound was amazing. Hey, just think what I could do on a live recording on an album for you guys.
Yeah, I try not to drop those lines, but I should be. The idea is that I should.
I would, for sure.
I'm sending you an email to let you know that this is what you should be doing.
Half the time I forget the Mrs. Cards in my pocket and stuff like that.
I think that, though, like, the fact that you're organically doing it will help too. Like, even though, you could be as pushy as you want to be, but it's, your style isn't that way. So you're being yourself. You're being true to yourself. And the way that you approach them is to just sort of, oh yeah, I have a recording studio, and if you ever want to come check it out, come by. Yeah. And then you just sort of quietly set that up, and then, instead of something like what I would do, is which I'm trying to push everybody to come on our podcast. Thank you for being here, by the way. So like, I just think that that's a great approach for sure.
Well, I think it's important to like be a fan as well, and like be out there and just, if there's a band that I want to work with, then I might write them a message and be like, I really like your band. Like, I think you're doing cool things. I like your songs. I think you're a good songwriter, and that's it. And maybe that's the whole conversation.
Or it could morph into more, right? Oh, yeah, thanks very much for that, by the way. And then you get this dialogue going, and all of a sudden, like, they're booking time at your studio.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hopeful goal, I guess. But also, it feels good on both sides to, like, Johnny's telling me how much he's how happy he is that he's working with me, but it feels good on the other side too. Like I know as a musician how great it feels when someone just out of the blue writes to you and says, absolutely, I really like your music, like you're doing great things. Mm-hmm. And I also know that it's not necessarily as common as people might think. So, yeah, I know that it feels good, and it makes me feel good as well to reach out and give that feeling to another artist.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's part of the community. Like, you're supporting each other because you know how hard it is as well. So
well, Gus has educated me on that too, because he starts, like, he's a sales guy, right? So he fires out there, hey, we love your stuff. And I'm just like, they're not going to call. They're not going to get back to us. And sure enough, here they are getting back. He's made me eat my words many times. But you're right. Like, we're genuine. We love music, and like, we'd love to talk to everybody in Ottawa on this podcast about their music, just because we like it that much.
I believe you can.
Yeah, I believe I can.
Yeah, it is kind of our mission statement, is to kind of just promote Ottawa artists and people in the music industry, and not just music as well. We had a small business on, and just like we're kind of organically, we didn't know what the podcast was. We were just going to chat, and then great artists start coming on.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We're so lucky that we're doing exactly what we want to do with our podcast. So hopefully it'll keep going for sure. Once we get through everybody in Ottawa, we'll just start over and do everybody again.
We'll bring them back.
Yeah, exactly.
There'll be new people by then.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly. You're right. Exactly. Yeah.
We keep
it
finding
is
them.
growing.
It's like we talk to
too,
you,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden, oh, you talk to Gareth. Oh, we want to talk to you, and then like I talked to the boys from Winter. I'm going to go see them on Saturday night, and Rockin' Engine is playing with them. We haven't spoken to them yet.
Yeah.
I'll be talking to them on Saturday night if they don't scare me too much. They're pretty intimidating guys.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know. I got the business cards now, man. I'm in.
Yeah. Just hand them one of those.
I'm going to throw it at them.
Yeah,
and almost kill them. It's like, these are such great quality. It's
Yeah,
like,
well, I don't mess around.
catch this.
I don't mess around when it comes to our branding.
Yes. No, he does not.
Would you say you're introverted or extroverted?
Introverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
2 against 1.
Yeah, well, see, the way how I know is because he simply answered that question with nothing else. It was just like, I am introverted.
Well, what else do you need to hear?
No, and it's great. I mean, everybody's their own person. I love it. I just, I had to ask. And I mentioned earlier, too, I was going to ask this question. So what is your spirit animal?
I think any fan of Jack Pine would know that it would be a wolf.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Yeah. Lone wolf.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
There you go. Now you have your answer.
No, I'm out of questions.
Actually, my Facebook profile, whatever that
The
image
background
is,
part?
yeah,
Yeah.
the background thing. It was an AI generated thing. I put some things into an AI thing of a guy in a studio surrounded by wolves.
Nice.
Turned out pretty okay.
Oh, cool. I'll check it out after.
Yeah, AI does really weird recording consoles that look really awesome, and I wish were real things.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're going to take over. You're going to be out of a job someday.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
about that.
No.
I'm teasing. God.
No way.
Tough crowd.
No.
Yeah.
Don't get like that.
What do you, as a music guy, how do you feel about the Blues Fest lineup for this year? I'm getting a lot of mixed reviews on this.
I liked it.
Yeah.
More than some others, actually. No, I mean, I actually bought the full pass.
Oh, did you? Good.
For the
Good
first
for
time
you.
ever. Usually because I was really cheap before and I didn't want to pay for it, and I just figured I'd find some other way to get one without.
Oh yeah, win a
without
contest or
buying
something.
one.
Yeah.
There you go, right? But if you pay, it's what, $260, I think. But if I think the first night for Shania is going to be at least $80, $80 to $90 for one day, because it's
Yeah.
her, right? And
Yeah.
the same with the Foo Fighters and Robert Plant. So if you buy the pass, you've already made your money.
Yeah,
like
they're
you spent $260, but for 3 days, you've pretty much got your money back.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like $75 a day, I think.
I think
Yeah.
the range is different. I think with the artist that comes, I've noticed, because some days are
okay.
depending if they're not as well known, it's like $60 as opposed to 80 or whatever. So we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, and it may vary on the day, like if it's
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday.
That too,
and,
I think. I'm not sure how that runs. but-
and I love the lineup, but I was like, I really want to see Orville Peck. I
Yes.
really want to see him, but I don't want to see Shania.
That's the
know-
thing. Well, he'll probably
Yeah.
play before her, so you can watch him and then leave.
I know, but then I still have to pay that price.
No, and that's true for sure.
But
it is true.
It is where it would. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. I love Orville Peck. So
Yeah.
no, the lineup is quite good this year. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of true to a blues fest feel, even though there is rock. But sometimes, I mean, Ludacris isn't really something I'd probably be that interested in anymore. I probably liked him when I was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like some of them are
I
just
won't be
like,
going to that day.
No, you'll be
You'll be selling your day pass for that day.
Yeah,
I got a
you'll-
day pass for Pitbull and
Yeah.
Ludacris.
You'll get money for it.
Yeah, for sure you would.
Oh yeah. Well, I made sure I had other people who were interested in some of the shows I wasn't interested in.
Perfect.
So my sister's buying just about half of it, including the Pitbull, which she'll give to her kids.
Oh, okay, cool. Mr. Worldwide,
Mr.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
But the smile is what I'm really stoked about.
Me too,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's. He was like, "Who's the Smile?" I'm like, "Radiohead, man." It's like
Yeah.
amazing. And
I don't see Radiohead coming to Ottawa anytime soon. Then.
no, I went and saw them in Toronto. One of the 2 nights that they went. The night there wasn't an altercation, but then
Yeah, I had tickets for the night it did crash. Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy. So we went the other night, and it was amazing. I've loved Radiohead forever, and the Smile, like it's so surprising that this group is, it's the same guys, and it's just like a different project.
Mm-hmm.
As a producer, though, like, what do you like when you hear a band do something like that? Why do you think they do it? Like, I know they're so intricate as a band anyway, but like that is something different. Like, I've never really heard of a band that's the same doing a different name project.
Well, it's just 2 of the guys out of the.
I think
Is
the
it
bass
5?
is the bassist isn't there, right? There's only 3 of them.
I think it's a 3-piece.
Yeah.
It? Yeah.
Yeah, but
So isn't it Johnny and Tom and a new drummer?
yeah, but I
is
thought
what
that
it
the okay, you're right. Yeah, because I thought the bassist was there as well, but maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
But I don't know. Like I think it fits with the sound of Radiohead as well.
Yeah,
Like, given how eclectic I'm a huge Radiohead fan.
Nice.
me too. Me too.
Too.
And,
I've
seen
and I
them
mean
like
Johnny,
4
and
times.
Johnny's just like
Yeah.
uber talented, right? Like
Yeah.
it does everything right on the stage. It's insane. So
Yeah. And Tom's getting pretty old for like he seems more and more energetic.
I
as he
know.
ages.
Like even on stage when he was in Toronto, like he was bouncing around and dancing, and he's in his late 50s. Like he's not young,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're not young.
I'm not young, and I'm not bouncing around on a stage anymore.
I'm
You're not taking that back.
Yeah.
It's been said.
But he's like he.
I understand
he
what you're
has
saying. I get it.
super energy. Like I
I get
mean,
it.
obviously,
Yeah.
look at Mick Jagger. He has crazy energy too, but that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but it's kind of. I guess you're right. They do branch out, and I felt like there was the same guys were in the band, but they had one different person. I was wrong, but obviously I thought that was how it was going. But either way, I'm
Kinda,
stoked. I'm
yeah.
stoked for the Smile, and they're closing, so it's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising too. I'm assuming it might be not the most massive crowd either, which I'm
I'm like, I
kind
love
of
that.
looking forward
Oh,
to.
that'd be
Yeah.
perfect then.
Yeah. Because I think
perfect.
Foo Fighters will be like it
That's
was
gonna be
last time,
insane.
right? It was huge, and
Yeah.
then Weezer will be big.
Yeah,
and,
true.
And obviously Shania, I think will be big.
Well, Robert Plant and Alison Krauss will be. I think that'll be massive as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm going to that
I don't know.
one.
I
I
think,
think it will be.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, I want to see Robert Plant so bad just to say I saw Robert Plant.
I
But
think
it's just,
we have enough hipsters in this city, or older folk like myself, who, just exactly that reason. Well, plus the music. I love the music,
Yeah.
but just to say that I've seen Robert Plant live and in concert.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before, he's not getting any younger.
No, and
Yeah.
he still sounds great.
No, he does. And I've always liked Alison Krauss. So
Do you have siblings other than your sister? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's a long story.
Oh,
Sort
it's funny. I have a long story too, but how did it affect your life? How did they affect your life?
Well, the answer to the question is that I'm an only child with 2 half sisters and 3 stepbrothers
Fair
Sort
enough. Okay,
on either sides, so never in the same house.
fair enough.
But how did that affect me? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I guess
that will
it's
get a
like-
real long story.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we don't have the time, so I'll tell you. I have 8 half brothers and sisters, so it's kind of like and they're not all the same either. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
I feel you.
it's that era.
I have 2 full-time brothers,
Yeah,
just to throw that in there,
Nice.
and I'll trade them.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. You can have them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, good for you.
Well, good for me. Cool. All right. Are we going to ask, because we didn't ask Candace the question. Is it too early to ask the question?
No.
80s or 90s music, Gareth? Well, considering that you're a fan of
I know the
Radiohead,
answer.
I think I know the answer.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely 90s. I was born in the 80s, but
Same.
90s music for sure.
Is there?
Sorry.
Oh, no, don't be sorry. Don't be,
He's
do
upset.
not.
You ruined his
Do not be sorry.
Just
I'll
to
be
be-
sad
yeah.
on my drive home, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll get over it. In the 90s, though, like, who is the most influential, like, that got you kind of hype?
I mean, Radiohead would have been the like OK Computer, which I think was like 99.
Such a good album.
So that I don't know if that counts as the 90s.
Sure does. It's got a 9 in the title.
Yeah.
Well, they're a 90s band, in my opinion. Like, they've made music since, obviously, but to me, that's a 90s band.
Yeah. I guess early 90s would have been Dookie.
Yeah,
Green
yeah,
Day.
Green Day, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's influential, but I had my punk rock phase in high
Nice.
school. And I think I must have been 12 when Dookie came out or something. It was grade 8.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
But
right.
that was the
12,
start
13,
of punk
yeah.
rock
Yep.
in my generation, at least, I think.
That was his
Yeah,
punk,
it
like,
happened
pop
before.
punk, right?
Just so you know, it did happen before.
I know. But like 90s pop punk
Yes, gotcha.
popularized, at
Yeah.
least, I would say, in part
and ska
with
and
that.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I loved No Doubt, too, back then. Yeah,
in the Offspring.
Offspring was amazing.
Yeah.
Smash was a great album.
hmm yes.
Yeah, so I was just wondering. I was interested. We're the same age, I think.
Fugazi.
Yeah, I think you
Ish.
guys are around the same age.
I
Yeah.
love Fugazi. I still love Fugazi.
Still, yeah, I still
Nice.
go back to all those albums. Like I've told you before, like there was that one like 3-week period where 8 of the best albums were
Yep.
released in the 90s. So it's like it's just amazing that all happened at the same time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
pose this question. There's no right or wrong, and you're not hurting feelings because I do love the '90s music as well.
Are you
so.
sure?
Maybe a little. I'm lying. Okay, you're right. You caught me.
yeah.
I am a little bit upset.
He's so upset he didn't even bring his shoes.
I did. I just don't have any socks.
Knocks your socks off.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Ooh. Ba-dum-tsh.
So, like, what do you like? If you were to be remembered as a producer or an artist or something, like, how do you want to be remembered? Like, what is your say? I know it's a crazy question, but just do your best to answer it. But it's like if you were to be remembered as a producer or a musician, like, how do you want to impact your what is your I don't know, like, like I want you to answer a question that's sort of in the most organic way possible.
Was there even a question there?
That was a tough one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, I don't know how I want to be remembered as a producer or as an artist, but I mean, I guess at this point, I don't want to be pigeonholed, which is funny because with Jack Pine, like Jack Pine and the Fire, part of the reason, like, they're officially on hiatus right now. I didn't want to, say that we're broken up or anything, because reunions it'll happen anyways. If I have a reunion, it doesn't matter if I pretend that we hate each other or something like that. It's just not what I want to spend my time on right now. But Jack Pine and the Fire has rules in it. It's an acoustic band. Like, I don't allow them to play electric instruments, but except for pedal steel. Pedal steel's allowed. But it's funny. So that's the whole point of the band, is to have an acoustic band that doesn't necessarily have a folk sound, even though we look like a string band. So I guess that's part of why I want to do this. Like, I want to work with more and more different types of music. I really like different, and I get bored when it's the same kind of thing all the time. I don't love playing as a sideman, because, like, in a band at least, because I'm just playing mandolin the whole time or something, or guitar, and playing rhythm.
Yeah.
As a singer-songwriter, I got to sing different songs, and they're all a little different, and and that's it. I've been told after some Jack Pine shows, like, it's like you had like two different full sounds there. Like when I play the guitar or when I play the mandolin, which is true. Like, there's not a lot of people that play a solo singer-songwriter set on a mandolin, but yeah. And otherwise, yeah. I mean, as Jack Pine, we've had a couple of cool nominations, and when that's sort of with the last album, we got nominated for a Juno for the artwork. So I'm a Juno nominated art director.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Not quite a Juno nominated artist yet. And a Canadian Folk Music Awards for the music. So I want to be like at least nominated for I got the art director thing. I got the artist thing, and as producer.
Next is producer.
So I don't know. Well-rounded, I guess is the quick answer to your question.
Well, it was a really roundabout question, so you had that was a great answer.
That was a roundabout answer to a roundabout
No, it
question.
makes sense that you'd want to be remembered in all three phases of music, right? Like there's the artwork, and then also the music, and then producing. So it's very cool, a very great answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't do the artwork myself, by the way. I'm the art director.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
This goes over here, and this goes here.
Fair enough.
And I'm done.
Yeah,
my bad.
And now you're an art producer. Yeah, there we go. Director, sorry.
I mean, I did the layout.
There you Well, then you're directing the art. You're
part of it.
You're basically
And,
putting
you're
it
a
where
big
it's
part.
supposed to
You're a big
be,
part.
right?
No, we actually did. It was Emile Matea did the artwork of that. So we were both nominated. I was the art director because I did the layout and was pretty instrumental in what the actual artwork was. We worked pretty closely on what it should be and everything that needed to be in it. But he definitely, like, I didn't do the art myself.
Well, you had the vision, and then he kind of brought it to life, sort of thing.
Yeah, together we figured out what it should be. Yeah,
Cool. He knocked it out of the park.
yes,
As it
he
were.
really did.
Now, when you're, I've always been curious about this as a producer / like artist and stuff. When you listen to music, are you a fan, or are you listening as an artist or a producer? Say you're listening to an album and you're listening. Now, is that the fan coming out listening to it, or are you listening to it going, man, you know what? That producer did this. I would have done this. Is that the way you look at it, or are you just fanboying at it?
Depends. I mean, a really great album is one that lets you forget the critical factors that sort of are unavoidable when you get into producing music and recording music. Like in audio school, I remember my teachers discussing, like after class or something, and be like, remember when you just like listened to music and enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Instead of like trying to like
Break it all down.
decompose it and like, how did they get that sound? And I wonder what kind of delay they used there. What kind of compressor is that on the voice? And is that a fast attack, or
Well, these are the
getting
things,
super
right?
nerdy and technical about every little aspect about it. So like, yeah, as a fan, it's really great when an album's just so good that you just.
Well,
when it just makes you feel something,
yeah.
right? Again,
we don't think that. Like, I don't think that way at all because I don't have the background that you have.
Yeah.
So I just listen to the album for the album itself, right? Like, oh, that was really good. I really like those lyrics. I like that, that intro. This, this whatever. But I don't think about what compressor, or what this or that, right? So I'm just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, and I don't tend to get that specific about it, but yeah, it happens. It's inevitable.
Is there an artist out right now that you get lost in the music? If you could listen to an album right now, and
yeah, probably. I'm really terrible with like favorites type questions. I'm not good at choosing favorites. I do have like Radiohead obviously is a favorite band, and Tom Waits is another all-time favorite.
nice.
Yeah,
Those work.
So for Tom as like
but new bands I don't know about. Yeah.
for Tom Waits as a writer. And like
Yes.
his vocals are very, very rough, but I mean, he's an amazing songwriter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's exactly as a songwriter, but like it was his early music that I really loved when I was a kid.
Okay.
Like I
Interesting.
started listening to Tom Waits when I was like 8 years old.
Okay, that's really interesting. I think
come
he's
from
more
your-
of an acquired taste.
Yeah, for sure. Did that come from your folks or?
Well, I had a piano teacher, actually. I took piano lessons. I'm a terrible piano player, but as a kid, I took piano lessons, and because I was never into theory, I just got bored and wanted to quit whenever someone tried to make me learn theory. This piano teacher was teaching me play by ear, so a lot of that was listening, and he'd play chords and try to get me to like name what type of chord that is and stuff like that, and then he'd just give me music. So Tom Waits was one of those tapes he gave me, and eventually I started playing guitar later in life, and he wasn't my teacher anymore, but my mom we'd go visit sometimes because he was a good teacher and we got along well as a kid. So he gave me a Leo Kottke tape as well, and Pat Metheny, and like just all kinds of stuff. And yeah, so Tom Waits was one of those first tapes, and we have a cottage up in Northern Ontario, which is on an island. The second album is basically about that place, but it's a 17-hour drive to get there.
Wow.
So
That's a lot of
listen
Tom
to
Waits.
That Tom Waits, the island years, the asylum years, a lot.
Nice. Now I see where he likes the eclectic stuff. I see where that comes from. Like Tom
Yeah.
Waits to Pat Metheny, a little
Yeah.
bit of a difference in those two styles right there.
For sure. For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
So I understand the eclecticness now. That makes
Well,
more
and
sense.
that's a big drive to go to
17
that
hours.
cottage.
Yeah.
Well, it is Ontario. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
It was one of the few things
That's
that,
way up north, though.
yeah, Lake Nipigon.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that like a family cottage? Been around for a while?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my mom grew up in Thunder Bay, and my grandfather's. He was a forester on
Jack.
Lake Nipigon. Yeah,
Jack Pine.
Yeah, my grandfather Jack.
there you go.
Because I called him Jack at the beginning.
Yeah, you
and he
did.
was like, it's actually John, and it's actually Gareth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Other way around, but yeah.
Touche. I did that on purpose.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Come on, I gotta have I'm the extrovert here. I gotta kind of,
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. What?
We'll ask him something.
How you doing?
No,
Doing all right.
All right, great. What do you got?
So is there somebody in your life that, like the piano teacher, obviously, but who would you say is the most influential person in your life, and why?
The most influential person. Jeez.
Well, I would suspect you have a good relationship with your mother, and like based on that discussion we just had, but
Yeah. I guess so. Actually, one of the reasons I called myself Jack Pine is, well, my grandfather Jack, yes, he was a forester. But my mom would always try to plant a Jack Pine tree up at the island. There's one big one. She always wanted to plant one, and the whole thing about Jack Pine is that they come in a pine cone that's like, the seed is in a pine cone that's like rock hard until you heat it up in a forest fire. So Jack Pine it's like the rising phoenix of the forest is why I call myself Jack Pine in the fire.
very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's like you got to burn down the whole forest if you want to make a new Jack Pine. Naturally, at least.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Gus going, why did we ask that question?
Well, no, it's okay. I'm getting to the point here.
No, that's not what I meant, but go ahead.
My mom would always try to plant a Jack Pine and never succeeded.
Oh.
Well, not that I remember, at least. They would always die, or it just wouldn't work because it's actually really difficult. And I sell Jack Pine bonsai kits, by the way. You get a pine cone and a box of matches. Seriously.
Do you have any in the car? I'll probably buy one from you.
I don't know if I got my
Oh,
little
boy.
kit in the car. Maybe.
Yeah, just kidding.
You got a place out where you can try and, set one up.
Yeah, I got a little bit of property. Yeah,
So anyways, I made my mom one Jack Pine.
amazing. That's
There you go.
That's so nice.
She created a
That's
Jack
the
Pine.
sappy version of the story. Yeah.
Very
That's a
good.
good version.
No, I like it.
No, she created a Jack Pine and the fire.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good job, Mom. What's coming up next? Do you have any albums that you're going to be working on in the next little while, other than the one you just finished?
There's a couple that are sort of lined up to go. Just waiting to start them, really. Chris McLean has been a long time important part of the Ottawa folk scene.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to being part of her album. And another singer-songwriter in town who I've been sort of talking for quite a long time now about making an album. He's finally feeling ready. We had a pre-production meeting today.
Nice.
Getting into things, and it might be a little delayed. We'll see. I'm hoping we can get it started, but
Yeah.
Start that email.
yeah, that's right. I'll start.
Yeah, the email thread has
Yeah.
to begin.
You
Yeah.
gotta get just like a form email. Okay, so you're not really thinking that you're ready, but guess what? You're ready.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. It must be
Yeah.
interesting to. It's an interesting way to approach things, and it must be fulfilling when they do come through and that album does get created. So it's really cool.
Well, I mean, for some people, it's that they're talented and don't necessarily realize it. And like, if I get a chance to notice that and encourage them, like, it's so easy to not go into music,
It's true.
or to not follow your passion, or like try to make that creative thing happen, because you got to pay the bills. So you spend your time doing these other things, and then you're too tired. Like, I know that as well.
Of course.
So yeah, like I say, it takes just a little pat on the back. Like, you're actually doing something notable. Like, this is me noting this to you. You're kind of cool.
It's so cool. Yeah. And like,
and sometimes in this case, it takes a few years.
well, that's it. And like one thing you could say too is like in 20 years or 30 years, once you feel great that you actually tried and did this whole thing and actually did something that you love and have it recorded and it's there forever, right? Like you know what I mean? Like, it's just like I think it's like some people get afraid of themselves doing the project or don't like get over themselves to actually do what they want to do in many fields. And then eventually they just forget that, like, you got to just remind them, this is like amazing that you're doing this, right? Like, this is such a great experience and such a great thing to say. Like, you'll tell your grandkids about this. You'll show, I made this album, or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
It's a better story than saying, well, I kind of almost made an album.
Yeah.
Well,
That's right.
grandkids, I almost did an album 30 years ago. Almost. Whew, I was that close.
You'll feel like such a piece of garbage at the end if you know what I mean? Like, you just such one thing I fear is having regret. So
Yeah. And actually, well, I don't know if this is completely related to what we were just saying, but
Do it.
like, my first album I made with the City of Ottawa grant, and I was very much in that position too. Like, I didn't feel like I was a good songwriter or anything, but I knew I'd written some songs and I liked them well enough, and I was playing them with friends, and some of them liked them, and would tell me that that it was okay, at least. So I'm like, why wouldn't I make an album? Like, okay, sure, maybe I'll try. So another friend helped me put together a grant application for the City of Ottawa. And in creating that grant application, and I tell this to everyone who's thinking of applying for a grant or something like that, that it, like, if you can get it, it's like the greatest, pat on the back of support. Like, yeah, go do it then. Like, it's like, in applying for it, I had to write out, like, I am going to make 10 songs. They are these songs. And I had to basically plan making an album, and part of me in the back of my head was saying, like, maybe I won't make it or something like that. If I don't get the funding, then maybe it'll take forever and maybe it won't be as good and, like, whatever. But in applying, I was like, well, in best case, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And if I get the money, I'll do this and this and this and this and also that. And then when it's done, I'll have to release it. Like, I'm just not going to sit in my closet, like maybe if I wasn't that happy with it. So I'll have to release it no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'll basically forced me to lay out a whole plan and to actually go through with it because I got the grant.
It's amazing.
And, you know, it was a pat on the back, but also like an incentive to plan it and to do it the right way. Not just like whatever, record it as a voice memo on my phone and put it on Bandcamp.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A pat on the back and a push through the door.
That's right. What a great way to finish.
Yeah.
We're done.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was great. Thank you, Gareth. I
Oh,
appreciate
Thanks
you
for
coming.
coming out and joining
Yeah,
us
it was
today.
awesome. Great to speak with you.
Yeah, great to meet you guys too.